course, all these great notions of hero worship. However, it's very, very hard to not see Rand as a great feminist. I mean, here's a woman who came, completely on her own, came over to this country, started an entire new life. I mean, and totally conquered created a philosophy and conquered a movement. And
became one of the most influential authors, culturally and philosophically, and one of the best-selling authors in the country. Yes. So, I mean, certainly...
her life is a feminist statement, even if unintentionally so.
Right. So perhaps this was true feminism.
And she created such great women. I mean, these great heroines. I mean, it's hard to not think of Dagny Taggart or Dominique, and they're just
certainly,
women who command of science and business and logic.
And it was a long time, and even now we don't see characters like that. Women who are captains of industry. No. Women who are
not sexy, Mark,
and not sexy, and certainly these women were also very sexual as well in the books, and they also were captains of industries and running businesses. Now, this was something that was very unusual to have in a novel then. Now we see it a little bit more, but we still haven't caught up to that very much, I think, in our pop culture.
I don't know if we see that. I mean, there's a whole movement of the chick flicks and chick lit, which I can't stand. And it's not just some kind of poser stance that I take, oh, that's, these are mushy or whatever. I mean, I really do find these roles repellent. Like, I tried watching Sex and the City, and I know I should be supportive of kind of the gay vibe of shows like that, but honestly, whenever I see, stories reflected where women obsess about the romantic status, I want to vomit.
So, feminism has soured, you think? A lot of different things are soured. It seems like it's changed a lot of our attitudes, but not necessarily for the better.
I think, and this is much more complicated probably than the scope of a libertarian show, is that the sexual revolution and feminism, and at least feminism, we'll say it's synthesized down to at least one strand that we can handle, are in conflict with each other to some degree. Because after all, I was just thinking, when I think about Sex and the City, it's very, very hard for me to take women seriously when they sit and basically moan about their boyfriends or lack thereof, or their whole focus in life is to be in a romance.
I think that I agree with what you're saying on that level. On some other levels, I think Sex and the City was a very different attitude for women about sex, because the sex, as they were talking about it, was their sexuality. It was what they made of it. It's what they decided. Sexuality no longer was something that belonged to the husband or was there to reinforce a marriage, and they had sexual power. So I think that there is a huge amount of feminism in that show, and that it has been very much accepted by the mainstream. And it is a huge sea change in our society. I think both men and women like that change. But I can also see what you're saying about, is this the totality of my being, is my romantic
I am as happy
parts.
as the next man to see Kim Cattrall naked, as much and as often as possible. However, I guess what I'd like to see is more like the Dagny Taggarts represented in television shows. I want to see, and not just young women, I want to see older women. I want to see college professors and, hell, mother superiors and philosophers and really strong women and older women and women who have not made romance or motherhood the whole focus of their lives, but have really created change, or they have some kind of artistic achievement to point to. I mean, they've made productivity more the center of their lives, and that isn't certainly in any way disparaging of motherhood or women. I mean, most women make family and relationships the center of their lives, and that's probably what stabilizes us. But we are capable of many, many things.
Right, and in Sex and the City, we do not see any of these women being a great captain of industry. No. We do see them have businesses. I think there is a little bit of a discussion of economics, but mostly that doesn't seem to be their driving ambition in their lives, which I guess in some way can be seen as another oppressive stereotype for a woman, in that a woman, according to Sex and the City, is someone who is obsessed entirely with her romantic relationships as being the driving force in her life, as where if you had a show about men where they talked about romance in that kind of a way, I don't think that would work. You know,
not quite. Not it would not be the same thing if you really thought about it.
Yeah. So basically, do you see feminism with the post-feminist movement, with Paglia and some of the other people that you mentioned? Do you see it moving in a more a direction towards more of a libertarian feminism, a little more of something that respects the individual more?
You know, it may be that the whole use of the term feminism is over, and we have to accept the fact
Yeah.
that it's probably has peaked out.
It sounds like
Right.
It sounds dated now.
Right.
When you use
Totally
feminism, it sounds like
anachronistic.
groovy.
Yes.
You know,
You're
wow,
right.
feminism is groovy. It seems to be a term that's passé now.
What we should hope for is that women, or that every human being, has a right to freedom, privacy, autonomy, which is apart from the state.
Uh-huh.
And that's what we're hoping for. That's what I hope the evolution is toward. And whether, you know, an individual chooses to be a wife and mother, or chooses to be a captain of industry, or chooses to be a porn star, those are all choices the state has nothing to say about.
Right. Well, that sounds good. So, really, our feminists, you talked about a lot of confusion about, you know, inside the feminist movement. Has that subsided? Is there more confusion happening inside of the movement?
You know, the thing is, because I haven't been on a college campus now in 8 years, my mind has cleared up quite a bit. The confusion for me has gone away. Getting away from the university is great. But of course, now you're seeing the whole mommy wars issue. And that's, I think, another time, if you ever have me back, I would love to talk about the whole issue of the mommy wars. Well, now that white middle-class women, you know, have all this education and all this free time, they have to obsess over something. And what are they obsessing over now? Their children, in a way that they've never have before. And that also has libertarian implications. Nick Gillespie of Reason Magazine once did a reading where he discussed the fact that, you know, he never wore a helmet while riding a bicycle. And now today, I think you probably can get your child taken away by a child protective services if you don't totally suit up your child to get on its training wheels. And I mean, I remember, I'm not that old, but I got on a bicycle and my father pushed me along and we did this, and a couple times I fell on my head. And
right.
Eventually I learned to ride a bike, which I rode everywhere and rode all the way through graduate school. And somehow I turned out okay. I mean, a little, you know, as well as any libertarian child is going to turn out.
Right. So, yeah, so there's, feminism has now perhaps moving into issues of motherhood, is that?
Well, I mean, it's not just be feminine. It's a combination of, you know, the economics and the fact that because now white females, you know, in the middle class are pretty much expected to get college degrees, if not graduate degrees.
Thanks for coming out. It's been fascinating discussion. Thank you for watching. If you'd like any more information about the Libertarian Party, you can go to www.lp.org, or you can give us a call at 1-800-ELECT-US, and we'll send you out a free packet of information. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Don't give up, learn to live, show the world you're painted in, the colors there are